What is up, e-commerce brand owners? Are you looking to find the next and perfect agency to help grow and scale your brand from 6, 7, maybe even 8 figures? Because if so, today's video is just for you. What I'm gonna be doing is breaking down the 6 most important keys and factors that you need to be focused on as a business and brand owner in terms of finding that perfect agency to help grow and scale your brand. But to keep in mind, guys, this is actually gonna be from the perspective of an agency owner, and I'm gonna be letting you guys know the little secrets and some of the little tricks of the trade that you guys need to look out for in terms of dealing with some of these snake oil salesmen. So before we go ahead and dive on into the video, you might be thinking to yourself, you're not 100% sure if you need an agency and if you actually want to delegate your marketing to an agency at this point in your business. Well, I'm going to leave you guys with a simple little quote from a famous businesswoman, and it goes something along the lines of this, right? Deciding what not to do in your business is just as important as deciding what to do in your business, right? And I mean that in terms of delegation. So I'm going to go ahead and see you guys in the next clip, and we'll go ahead and hop on into the rest of the video. Okay guys, so let's jump on into it. As I said in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the 6 most important keys that you need to be focused on as a business and brand owner in terms of finding the perfect agency to help grow and scale your brand profitably. And let's go ahead and start with number 1. Okay guys, so like I said, let's hop on into it. Number 1, and that's actually going to be results. Now, how fast can the agency provide results, and what type of results are we talking about? Because it's not the same for every single brand. And there's a few things you guys need to think about here, because when I speak in terms of results, this is really a double-edged sword, and something for you as the brand owner you really need to make sure that you have in place prior to even bringing on an agency, because you need to make sure that you actually have a foundation that an agency can come in and grow and build upon. Because if you're basically doing $0 a month, there's no way you can bring in an agency to overhaul your entire brand and bring you guys to doing multi-6 figures, even 7 figures a year. It's simply just not going to happen. So this is where it's your job as a brand owner and as a business owner to ensure when you're looking for an agency, like I said, you have that foundation to grow upon. And what do I mean by that, right? Having a product market fit, right? Meaning that you actually have a product that people want to buy. Secondly, right, you actually have, things in place in terms of your website conversion percentage, your AOV, right? Making sure that you actually have a good lifetime value and returning customers. Again, these are small things that we can help you with along the way, but the bare minimum we want to be doing is, I'd say, $10,000, $15,000 a month organically. And then you can start to go ahead and look for an agency to work with. So a few things that you guys need to keep in mind when gauging whether an agency can actually provide the results that they're talking about. You need to be thinking about these 4 simple questions. And firstly, it's going to be, do they have recent case studies in your niche? Now, what I mean by this is that, do they have, first of all, recent case studies? So I don't want to be seeing results from back in 2019 as a brand owner, as well as if I'm running a jewelry brand, I want to be working with an agency that has experience working with brands similar to me and dealing with my sort of customer avatar. Thinking in terms of that, that's one question you need to ask. The other one is, to what extent are they claiming to provide results, right? Especially as a bit of a bigger brand, you're definitely going to want to be working with an agency that has the experience in providing results that you're actually going to be looking for, right? Sometimes, especially if you're doing, upwards of $100,000 a month, an extra 5 to 10 grand a month really isn't going to push the needle for you guys and help you scale. You need to be working with agencies that have the ability for you guys to be spending upwards of $10,000, $20,000 a month just on ads. And then from there, you guys can be bringing 3-4x return. And number 3 and number 4, guys, go kind of hand in hand, and it's going to be, how fast can they actually achieve these results that they're talking about? And number 4, right, can they, or is there actually a guarantee that this agency offers? Because you're definitely going to want to figure out, where your break even is in terms of advertising, what sort of offer and guarantee that this agency is offering you. Because if there is ability for, if things go belly up, you want to have the ability and the insurance to make sure that you can get your money back, or at the bare minimum, get some sort of return on your investment. So those are the things to look out for. And if you can keep those in mind when you're talking to agencies in terms of results, you'll be fine. Okay guys, moving on to number 2, and that's actually going to be the services offered by the agency, and most importantly, the services required by your brand, right? That's obviously what you need to be focusing on. And the most important question is, like I said, right, focusing on what services you actually require at any given point in time in your business. Because firstly, right, you need to be taking an internal checklist to figure out what areas of your business need working on most importantly, right? Because are you guys getting enough people to the website at the moment and they're not converting at a high enough percentage, then I'd suggest focusing on conversion rate optimization. Are you guys not getting enough people to the website overall to get them to convert? Then I'd focus on paid traffic, right? Do you guys need overall more people to start engaging with the brand? Then I would say focus on content, right? So really taking that internal checklist and figuring out where your business needs to be focused on is super, super important and super, super key. And the last note that I'm going to leave you guys here is with, finding an agency that you can work with in terms of having all services under one umbrella is just going to be that much more efficient for you as a brand owner, right? Dealing with 6 different businesses for 6 different services is never going to be ideal. And that's the final note I'm going to leave you with. Moving on to number 3, and that is actually going to be communication, something where I think our agency actually blows some agencies out of the water, because this is super, super important and something you need to be focused on as a business owner, because the less that you understand what's going on in each department of your business, the more hidden skeletons that there are, right? So having your finger on the button in terms of what is exactly happening is so, so important for you as a brand owner, and especially working with an agency that's going to be outsourced, that's not in-house in terms of being on your team. Now, what I'm going to do in this part of the video, guys, is just quickly run you through exactly what we do with our clients in terms of communication. And no ifs, ands, or buts, we work inside of Slack, right? Which, if you guys are familiar with, is essentially just WhatsApp for work. This way we have one central place for communication. Nothing gets lost. Within our Slack group channel is our team, the brand's entire team as well. Every single Monday, we send a video update going over marketing results, what we've done over the past 7 days, typically what we will be doing moving forward. Every Thursday, we shoot over a text update going over the past week results in terms of return on ad spend. This is what we spent, this is what we've generated back. And then bi-weekly check-in calls, guys. Every 2 weeks, we hop on a quick call with our clients, ensuring that not only are we fully in the loop with one another in terms of understanding what's going on, if they have any questions, we can ask them on the bi-weekly check-in call, and simply from there, we make sure that, again, there's no hidden skeletons and you guys have a full understanding in terms of what we're doing as an agency on your behalf. Because the bottom line here, guys, is that this is your brand, this is your baby, and communication is everything, especially dealing with an outsourced team. And that's what I'm gonna leave you guys with on communication. Now on to number 4, guys, and that's actually gonna be planning and execution, something I don't think you're gonna hear a lot of people talk about, but it actually is one of the most important factors that you need to be focusing on in terms of differentiating whether the agency you're dealing with is mediocre or a great agency, because these are super, super important little nuances that you need to be focusing on. And like I said, they're gonna be a really good telltale sign as to whether you're working with a mediocre or a great agency. So if you have worked with an agency in the past, I want you to ask yourself a few quick questions. Did you have to go and give them direction, right? Were they seamlessly integrated with your team? Or did you seem to have to be taking the charge most of the time, and 90% of the time it just seemed like they were clicking buttons, right? Because these are super important questions you need to ask yourself, because they're really going to tell you the truth behind the story of the agency. On one hand, we have agency A. They are consistently leading by providing new ideas and marketing angles for use. They strategize and collaborate with your team as if they were integrated in-house. They show initiative to grow your brand at the highest level, aiding on problems that's outside of the current job description that you've hired them for. And like I said before, response times are 12 hours or under. And on the other hand, we have agency B, right? They follow your direction and only your direction. Innovation is something you cannot rely on. Collaboration with your team is okay, right? But generally, you're the one who has to reach out for updates. And majority of the time, they just do what you paid them for, right? Their area of expertise is limited to one platform or one service, and response times can vary, right? Like I said before, you're chasing them for a response the majority of the time, and you can never really rely on something consistent. Having the ability to plan and execute on strategies in the long run, especially in e-commerce, is so, so important, and one of the most important skills that your agency and overall marketers can have as a whole, because this is where you don't want to be having to be the brains of the operations. And if you are currently with your current agency, I highly recommend scrapping them and going ahead and looking for a new one immediately. Okay guys, so now we're in the final stretch, looking at the final 2 topics I'm focusing on today in terms of finding that perfect agency for your brand. And number 5 is going to be gel. No, not hair gel. What I mean by this, guys, is it's going to be a little bit of a less tangible KPI that you're going to be able to track. When I say gel, I'm talking about and referencing how well can an agency actually gel with your team? How well are they going to gel in terms of your long-term vision? How well do they understand your customer base and overall the brand and what you're trying to do with your business? So these are small little nuances, especially with the size of your brand and figuring out whether you want to work with a larger agency, what type of agency you want to work with. These are small things that you need to be focused on, because again, this is your baby, this is your brand, you should be working with people that you actually like. So I'm going to end it off here. Not too much I can touch on because this is more so a vibe and a feel that you have to get for the agency that you work with. Now guys, last but not least, that's actually going to be number 6, which is going to be the cost of working with an agency. Now, obviously this is one of the most important aspects for you to think about in terms of finding that perfect agency for you. So the two main things that it's really going to come down to is, first of all, how profitable are they providing these results? And profitable is a term that's going to mean something different to each individual business. And number 2 is, does their value actually outweigh their cost? Now, at the end of the day, it's our job as an agency to be an asset providing cash flow to your business. So if at any point in time we become a detriment and we start to become an expense to your business, you really need to start thinking about cutting them loose. As much as we've talked about relationship and having a good gel and vibe with your agency, this comes down to one thing only, and it's really just results. You're not running a charity, you're running a business, and if your agency isn't providing the profitable results you need for your business, you need to cut them loose. And what I wanted to touch on finally in this video, guys, is, like I said, in terms of profitably, this is something you need to focus on, and comes down to you knowing your numbers as a business owner, coming out and finding what are those break-even numbers in terms of those KPIs that you can focus on and communicate with your agency is ultimately going to allow you to figure out whether their value is outweighing their costs. So I'm going to end you guys with that, right? Because I think that in terms of determining where and how much value your agency is worth, it's going to come down to you knowing your numbers as a business owner, and then from there figuring out how profitably these agencies can provide those results. Okay guys, and that brings us to the end of today's video. I hope this cleared up any questions or any concerns that you had in terms of finding that perfect agency to help grow and scale your brand from 6, 7 to maybe even 8 figures. Link down below if you want to apply to work with our agency. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.